Hello there, Virgo. Thank you so much for checking out my channel. My name is Johnny Alchemy from johnnyalchemytarot.com, and welcome to your February 2021 tarot forecast reading. I hope the month of January treated you well and you had a great start to the new year. So let's look into the next month of February and see what messages the cards may have for you. This is going to be a general reading, so some messages may apply. Take that as your insight and guidance from the universe. Anything that does not apply is probably a message meant for someone else. So thank you so much for your openness and understanding. I greatly appreciate it. And let's look into the cards and see what messages they have for you for the month of February 2021. Okay. Here, there, okay. Let's get organized and get ready. Okay, so in the middle of your spread right here, we have the Four of Swords right here. So already just a general, overview when I looked at this reading. There's a lot saying about self-care for this month. On the mental level here, right in the middle of your spread itself with this Four of Swords. So taking time to rest and make sense of things, to really connect with your higher self, because, if there are nagging thoughts or negativity or anything like that in your life that do just exist, this person is, comes back from war and finds sanctuary inside a church of some kind or temple, whatever it is. But he finds shelter from all of these swords that loom in the background of this picture. They're in that darkness just waiting for him when he wakes up, and they're just going to be there and be available and ready to attack, And these swords represent our thoughts, our mental states. So here, it could be saying that you need to really take time to rest. Be careful of burnout. Be careful of overexerting yourself and overextending your energy. As well as I saw here in the background of this picture, we also have a stained glass window. And in that window, there are two people as if talking to one another. And this man, when he's laying down, he has this almost like prayer type position with his hands. This talks about really trying to connect with your highest self, trying to connect with the universe, with if you have a certain person that you worship, whether it be God, energy, the source, or whatever religion, whatever you prescribe to, there's something here that is saying connect back with that spiritual source, that spiritual center. Because as I said, life is full of these things, these types of thoughts and nagging negativity that come up here and there. That's just the natural order of life sometimes. And so sometimes we need to transcend past that and to connect to that spiritual center so that we can see the bigger picture once more beyond the things that are always around us and that sometimes affect our perspectives. And so here, I want to touch, which one do I want to touch on? It's probably the Four of Cups here. So, Four of Cups, again, another four, talking about stability as well. The Swords was talking about it in your mental states. The Cups talking about it in your emotional states. So finding stability in your mind and heart, making sure they are equal with one another as well, both of these cards being four. So same exact type of message here with the Four of Cups. To really contemplate and reflect on your emotional, any type of emotional things that you're going through. I mean, this person here, they're sitting down looking exhausted. Again, this type of exhaustion and trying to not overexert yourself. This time on the emotional level. He's sitting by a tree, just trying to gain his or her bearings. And he has all these cups right in front of themselves. So here, he or she has this time to really reflect on what's going on, to reflect on these different cups, these different types of things that they have experienced on an emotional level. And this could be anything. It could be the happiness, it could be the gratitude, it could be the baggage of an old relationship, it could be heartache or disappointment, whatever it is. But they need time to look into these cups and realize and make sense of of how they play into that person's life. How do they play into your life especially? And again, there's something here telling me that with both of these fours, by connecting with your highest self or your spiritual center, it will offer you a new cup of understanding and empathy and emotional security here. Again, talking about the spiritual aspect of connection, and this person is being handed a cup from spirit, from this spiritual cloud out of nowhere, out of thin air, from the universe. So here it's saying, when you are ready, when you make sense of everything and you try and connect back to the source of whatever it is you believe in to make sense of your surroundings, a new cup will be offered to you, a new sense of love or empathy or understanding, compassion for yourself, for that old type of situation or experience that you may have had that will affect your life and give you, again, that sense of stability. And it's funny to see these two cards again. There's a lot of self-care and healing here that I can see with some of the cards that popped up. But the other card on the top part of your spread is this Tower card. I've had this card like probably a few times with some of the other readings, but also some personal readings that I've given out to other people. This Tower card's popping up like crazy. So I'm just going to sound like a broken record, but, excuse me. This Tower card talks about big changes that happen in your life, big changes that come unexpectedly. So if you look at this picture, you have this tower and it's being struck by lightning. It's being struck by an act of God, an act of universe, an act of energy, whatever it is, just life itself, because sometimes life throws us a curveball. So here it talks about, everything that you've built up, everything that you've built up in your life, if you will, things that identify you and give you a sense of identity, a sense of self, whatever it is, a sense of security. And sometimes those things are taken away by the universe just because. And not really just because, but there is a reason, but you have to find out what that reason is. But the only way to go through that and realize that is by going through that experience, not circumventing it, not trying to work around it or be clever or tricky, but to really understand that you have to work through these hard times to realize why this happened in the first place. So this could be anything, could be, when I always see like this king and queen right here, it could be anything with a relationship of some kind that didn't work out. It could be a loss of job, a relocation of home, God forbid, a loss of a loved one, it's talking about big things that come unexpectedly that affect us on a very deep level. That's truly impactful. So here it's saying that sometimes things have to be taken away. Yes, it sucks, but it's only for our better good, because sometimes there's only so much room in our life for experiences or opportunities. And sometimes those things that once gave us identity or happiness, sometimes that runs out. Sometimes we are no longer that person. Sometimes we are no longer happy at that job. We're no longer happy in that relationship, and we deserve something better. And we deserve to be put on a path where we can experience our new sense of happiness, this elevated sense of happiness, an evolved and progressed sense of self. And we can't do that holding on to old masks or old hats or old ways of being. So sometimes this has to happen, the destruction of the old, so that new things can come in and new opportunities can exist. And so again, seeing these fours of the swords and the cups, it's saying to prepare for anything that happens in life. God forbid, if this is something that happened to you recently, it's saying now is the time for you to take care of yourself on that mental and emotional level. But in general, if you haven't experienced something like this, it's saying that the general wisdom is that life throws us curveballs. We have to make sure that we are taking care of ourselves, acknowledging our bodies, listening to our bodies, and honoring our thoughts and our feelings when they come up and you feel like you need to address them, so that you can always be the best and most prepared for anything that should happen in your life that could be very unnerving or shaking up your foundations. So let's move forward. Again, in the center of your reading, we have the Queen of Pentacles reversed. Again, Queen of Pentacles, very much like that Empress energy, but in the reverse, it talks about self-care once more. I know I talk about a lot of self-care in my readings, but when it pops up, it pops up, Basically, Queen of Pentacles at its most upright and positive polarity, it talks about being the master of balancing, of having true balance. And that's what that earth energy is, being grounded and being balanced in life. So with the Queen of Pentacles, she's able to balance her job life and her home life, the role of being a mother and also being a sister or a friend, whatever types of different dual aspects that you have to be, whatever different roles you have to play in life, she's able to do it all. She's kind of like the working mother archetype. So this could be very much with you talking about, in the reverse sense, about if there are any extremes in your life. Are you investing too much in your work or your home life or domestic life, and you're neglecting, let's say, your relationships with others, blah, 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 all this other stuff. We have all these types of balancing acts that we have to do with our relationships, with ourselves, with our family, with our friends, whatever it is, with our work, social, whatever it is. There's always a balancing act to have. So here it's asking you to be aware of that. If there is, again, any type of imbalances, and we have all these fours here that I keep on looking at, and it is saying that there is need for stability and balance at this time for this month. So again, Queen of Pentacles, use that Empress energy, use that energy of that divine feminine to take care of yourself, to provide nurture and guidance and support on an internal level if you are going through anything shaky like this Tower energy, and to give that emotional and mental balance once more to yourself. So let's move forward. We also have the Fool card, which I love. Right underneath that Tower card, we have the Fool. So again, when things are taken away from us by the universe, it's ultimately for our liberation. It's for our freedom. It's so that we are no longer attached to the things that are no longer in alignment with our life. So this is the wonderful feeling here. The fact that, I almost see that with this Tower. There's so much upkeep. There's so much maintenance that has to be done to make sure that this is running properly, this certain tower. But when it's taken away, the Fool only has himself. He only has the few belongings that mean most to him in his little knapsack that he's carrying over his shoulder. And he's also connected back again with nature of the true natural order, rather, of life, of self-discovery, and all this other stuff. It's saying to almost take away old senses of self, to allow that to die, so that you can be reunited with your most authentic self once more, your purest sense of being. And again, from destroying or letting go of all that hard stuff, when you're able to make sense of it, you realize that you have freedom now. You have the ability to create anything that was in its place once more. The Fool card, being number 0 in the Major Arcana, talks about ultimate potential. There's a nothingness. There's a space now for you to create anything that you want. So again, things are taken away because maybe we've reached maximum capacity in our life. Maybe there's just no more room for no more room or time or energy for something else to exist. So life has to sometimes remove those things for us, because we may not be in the we may be too caught up in that routine, or that type of routine, pretty much, of working through it and just accepting it as our norm every day. So again, that destruction is all about making room for our liberation and all of this, but to make sense of it and to really feel that liberation and to get to that process, get to that point in that process, it starts with building that emotional and mental foundation within yourself to make sure you are okay through this process, and to give yourself the time and room to heal and regenerate. And so one of the last cards here, we have the 5 of Wands right underneath that 4 of Cups. Again, this is saying that, very much like this 4 of Swords that I said, in the mundane world, in this physical plane, there's always going to be something out there that will give us some type of conflict or resistance, or give us some type of drama, whatever it is. Whether it be something internal or external, there's always going to be some type of conflict out there. So we have to make sure that we are okay and that we are taking care of ourselves, because this is always going to exist in life. Drama is a part of life. And sometimes, as I said, with that Tower, it comes to us. It just happens in our life. Act of universe, act of God, whatever it is. It will always find its way into our life, because that's the deal. Life is about good and bad, that up and down. Not everything is always going to be peachy keen all the time. The only time life is at that plateau, like a solid state, is when you're dead. So you don't get to experience the highs or the lows anymore. So that's what life is. Going the ups and downs, that roller coaster. So understanding that there is always going to be some type of conflict in life, and that's just what it is. So you have to take care of yourself and make sure that you're ready to, you have the clear sense of mind to understand that, number one, you can disconnect from those things, and that there is a greater purpose from the things that are really meaningful and impactful to us that are negative, that there is a reason and purpose for it. And also that you just have a solid foundation within yourself that when you recognize conflict or drama, you can disconnect from it, remove yourself from that situation, and also remove it from it energetically and understand that it has nothing to do with you. That's just the situation, and that you can move on and take care of yourself and focus your energies on something more productive and positive in your life. So let's move on. I think this is, there's a lot of healing and transformation here that I can see with that Tower card and all those cards of self-care and healing. So let's look into some oracle cards and see what they have to say. Okay, let's talk about first flexibility. It says being flexible. There's a saying, what was it? That which does not bend in the wind breaks. So what does that mean? It's saying that you have to go with the flow, if you will. If you are too resistant toward, again, something like wind, that's something that is natural, act of nature, act of the universe, something that just happens. If you're so resistant like a branch in the wind, you will break under that pressure. And there's nothing you can do about that wind happening because it's just a natural thing that happens in life. So you have to learn to be flexible and bend with it. You have to be able to be flexible in your life, to adapt, to go with the punches, and to also, again, disconnect sometimes when things are taken away from us, to learn that process. It's not an easy one, but it's ultimately the way that we're going to have peace in our life and have the ability to have more things come in and more opportunities to exist. So again, flexibility. And also I can see here in terms of self-care, if you are feeling kind of stuck in a certain way, if you've been feeling kind of tight, loosen up. Do a little stretching. For me, I love stretching. It's something that keeps me grounded, something that keeps me healthy and mobile in my age. So there is something here in terms of flexibility as well. So be flexible, not only in the figurative sense, but also in the physical sense. Move your body, use your body. You have to use it or lose it, if you will. So use those muscles, be flexible, try and stretch, maybe do a little bit more routines with your body in terms of health or whatever, but learn to be flexible in very different aspects in your life. We also have serendipity here, talking about luck. So here I can almost think about, maybe things are taken away from us because it is for the better. Maybe that you can't see, maybe you won't be able to see it at this current moment, but there is a certain reason why it happened, and you will realize that you are lucky that it happened that way. Again, it's about understanding the bigger picture and working through those dark places to find that light of truth in there, to understand why it happened, to understand the purpose. And then when you do, sometimes you could find real gratitude in that and to realize, wow, I actually was really lucky in this situation. Granted, it didn't feel so at that current moment, but they say retrospection is 2020. When you look back at it, you can say to yourself, wow, I've actually was really lucky that happened in my life. And I can say that from personal experience. A lot of negative things that happened, I can look back a year or so later and say, oh, that had to happen for a reason, because XYZ, because I wouldn't have met so-and-so, or I wouldn't have gotten that job, or I wouldn't have had this opportunity, whatever it is. So sometimes we have to lose things so that new things can come in. That's the biggest lesson here with that Tower card. And sometimes you realize that even though it didn't feel like it, it was the luckiest thing that could have happened to you in your life. So let's look at the last card, a word of wisdom or power, unconditional love. I've gotten this card a few times in some of my readings, and I love it because, especially coming up in a self-care type of reading, that's what it always comes down to, is unconditional love for yourself. Everything always starts with you. Whether it be a relationship, a cycle or pattern that you do, a behavior, whatever you want to control or master in your life, it starts with you and having this sense of unconditional love. The times that we become stressed or take on too much, overextend ourselves, our body will give us signals. Our body will try and communicate to us that, I need a rest, or I need to reflect, or I need to make sense of something. It will give us those signals. We just have to learn to listen. And by doing so, by honoring our signals and listening to our body, we are cultivating that idea and that feeling of unconditional love for ourselves, which is something that you need throughout life. That is the ultimate mastery, the ultimate concept that creates that mastery of self. To love yourself regardless of what you're going through, that Tower card, regardless of how much time you need to heal or you need to contemplate or whatever, you honor your feelings, you honor yourself. ultimately, so that you make sure that you are okay and taken care of first, beyond your relationships, beyond your job, beyond whatever, that you are making sure that you are okay. And it's not to say to quit that job or to leave that relationship. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that you have to make yourself a priority just as much as those other things, that you are also something that you have to take care of, not just to meet those other expectations from outside sources. So here, again, unconditional love. This could be one of the things that you have to learn in terms of this self-care process, that you have to learn to love yourself on a much more deeper and profound level. And that's ultimately one of the greatest lessons you can learn. So I think that's very powerful, honestly, in terms of something you can learn from this tower type of energy that I see here in terms of self-care, if this does resonate with you. So let's pull just one more card from our highest self, something to help us out. 5 of Cups. It's funny to get this 5 of Wands and 5 of Cups reversed here. I love the 5 of Cups reversed because it's saying, let me turn this up here on the upright so you can see better. 5 of Cups upright. This man is so caught up in the things that have happened in the past, all the disappointments, all the hurt, all the pain. But he doesn't realize that with these cups, some of them had this red liquid, which is wine, which is things that were pleasurable. But there's one cup here that was green, that had poison, that has toxicity. There were things that were toxic in our life that had to be taken away. But he didn't realize that was in that cup until it was turned out and put in front of him. So this is saying that we can lose things in our life, but sometimes we may not realize that it could be hurting us, it could be ultimately suppressing us or being toxic in our life, and we could not be aware of that until we can go past it and have some time to reflect and say, wow, I really dodged a bullet actually. I would have rather gone through this experience of having to let it go than have that in my life still a year later. And so the other thing here is saying that in the reversed, it's saying that you're coming to terms with this. Ultimately, that you're learning to, in this picture, there's a bridge in the background. You're learning to get a bridge, to cross that bridge and get over all of those past disappointments. You're learning to get over this. And you're learning to see that there are still opportunities here for you. That you're learning to turn around and letting this go so that you can see, okay, this is gone now. But now I still have these opportunities. I still have these cups to feel fulfillment, to feel love, to feel intuitive connectedness to spirit, to the highest self, whatever it is. So you're learning to get over it, and that's something that's very beautiful that I can see here. Again, it's about letting go and also finding that emotional catharsis to let all that energy go completely, to disconnect from it and say, universe, I've held on to this energy. I tried to make sense of it for this situation, but now here, take it from me. I don't need it. I have room now and space to heal and room for new things to come in so I can grow. So overall, this is what I see for your reading, Virgos. I think this is a very beautiful reading in terms of real transformation and having true self-awareness, if this does resonate with you, to cultivate unconditional love from within and to really make yourself a priority and and all those wonderful things to really allow yourself to heal and ultimately transform into someone new, better, and lighter from past situations that could have been difficult. So I hope this reading resonated with you on some levels, if not most of them. And I want to say thank you so much for allowing me to read your cards. All you Virgos out there, I very much appreciate it. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to shoot me a like. Don't forget to also subscribe if you haven't. And also don't forget to click that notification bell so we can stay in touch for future videos. I want to say thank you so much again, and I will see you next time. Thanks, guys. Goodbye.